gonna let the band deal with this. In my A style. Old school. Okay. Shut up. Okay. What's up? Shut up. Okay. What's up? Okay. Shut up. Okay. They what's up? Shut up. Okay. What's up? Right around in my brand new 99 photo Volvo. I got a pocket full of bees. Ain't got no place.
Hello. Welcome to Uncomfortable In-House Conversations with HB. Thank you for tuning in. This week is going to be a doozy. We're going to be talking about the state of football, not only football, HBCU football, my kind of football. I'm also going to be talking about, along with that, also high school football as well. I want to bring in two great notable coaches. One of them is a good friend and at school classmate, and one of it is coach for one of the great HBCUs there is. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring in Mr. Toriano Morgan and Mr. Brian Jenkins, if you may. How y'all doing, brothers?
Doing well, doing good.
Good evening, doing well.
Good evening. How you doing, Coach Jenkins? How you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good.
Good. And Coach Morgan, what's good with you, brothers?
Man, everything is good, man. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too, man. This is a good time. How y'all did, man? It's signing day, man. I know it's been kind of crazy a little bit.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. You know, we use a different a little bit of a different recruiting model as far as the early signing period. Just due to the fact, this transfer portal has changed the complete dynamics of the high school young man student athletes recruiting scale as well as college. So, sometimes you just got to let the dust settle, and then you have to be able to assess. And we don't want to just jump and move on a guy, and then 24 hours later, there might have been an ability to get, I don't want to use the term a better guy, but maybe a more experienced guy. So you want to be able to compare the entire picture to the entire picture. So that's what today is for us, just kind of sitting back, watching who signed where, and then, we'll assess who's still available, and then we'll attack, our recruiting needs from that standpoint.
Okay. And same for you, Coach Jenkins, when you were head coach, kind of like the same model.
No, my approach was a little different. And when I was a head guy, the transfer portal didn't exist, even though I was heavy on recruiting transfers. So I was doing the transfer portal before it even came about. But my plan was a little different. I separated our recruiting classes into 3 different recruiting classes. Around this time of the year, I wanted to take some transfer or junior college mid-year guys, and then I moved on to prep school guys, and then come February, that's where I wanted to fill my high school class. So I just figured, my thought process was to get a certain amount of guys in each area in order to build a team.
Okay, cool. So first, I want to get a little bit both of y'all guys' backstory and coaching. I want to preface my statement by saying I really want to get into Coach Jenkins' history. Toriano, we're gonna go on you a little bit, but it's a lot of unspoken scenes. I want to go ahead and clear the air, so to speak. But both of you guys, just take your turn. Tell me a little about your coaching history. Toriano, you go ahead and start.
Okay. My coaching journey started long before I was a coach. My mother was an educator. My father, was a servant of the church. So I learned the value of education and the value of service at a very early age. So God gave me coaching. Those two things were instilled in me. God gave me football. So it was a no-brainer as far as what walk of life I wanted to go into. So it started for me as a grad assistant at Tennessee State, and then I was able to transition back to South Florida and learn. Before you can lead, you got to learn how to follow. So Mark James gave me my first opportunity as his offensive coordinator at several high schools here, Boyd Anderson and Dillard. Then from that standpoint, he got the opportunity to go on to become the head coach at Virginia Union University. I was able to go there with them and did some amazing things. Then I was transitioned back here to Fort Lauderdale to where I was able to become the head coach here at Dillard High School down here. We had a good run at it, and then transitioned back to Virginia,
Uh-huh.
where Coach Reggie Barlow, who's now the head coach of the Washington Defenders, blessed me with the opportunity to be his assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. And then from that, this opportunity here as the head coach at Edward Waters University presented itself. And, we're excited about the strides that we're making. It's just some exciting times. We feel like we're trending, and we know we're trending upward. So that's just my journey in a nutshell. It's taken me a lot of places and given me a lot of different levels of service of where I had to learn things to get to this point. One thing that I have learned is that the station that you're at, you got to be faithful over that station. You got to be great where your feet are at that station. You got to be able to anticipate what the needs are of your leader at that particular point in time, because these young men are always watching, and if they see that there's a chink in the chain, they're going to pull the chain to see will it break. So that's just the journey and the lessons, or some of the lessons that I've learned from that. So right now, I'm excited about where I am, the things that we're doing, and looking forward to God continue to bless me to move forward in success in this industry.
Really quick, I want to tell you, I'm proud of you. Graduated the same. You played football, I played basketball.
Thank you,
Uh,
man.
so I am very, very proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. I take my hat off
Thank
to
you.
you.
Appreciate you.
No problem. So, Coach Jenkins, you go ahead and tell your story. Briefly.
Wow, I wish I'm gonna give you the short version because you
No,
talking
we
about
go. I got a lot of questions for you, so but go ahead. I want you to start the history of
okay.
how you got into coaching and all that.
The Harbaugh family, John
Mm-hmm.
Harbaugh, who's the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens,
Mm-hmm.
interview once my playing years were over. I interviewed with his father at Western Kentucky, and his father thought enough of me to hire me there as the wide receiver coach, and then I spent a couple years there, and then I went on to coach for the great Bob Spoo, at Eastern Illinois. And then from there, I went to Bowling Green, and then from Bowling Green, NFL Europe. From NFL Europe, I went to Louisiana Lafayette under Ricky Bussell and coached there for close to 10 years and learned a lot from Ricky Bussell. It was a phenomenal time there. Left Louisiana Lafayette and got blessed with the job at Rutgers, where I worked for Greg Schiano, where I learned a lot of football in a short period of time working for Greg Schiano, and had a chance to coach guys like Mohamed Sanu and Tim Brown, just great players who went on to the NFL. And then after that, I was blessed to, I was called to be the head coach at Bethune-Cookman, where I had a great time, probably the highlight of my career. Won many games, beat up on FAMU multiple times.
That's what I'm talking about. That's
Just
what I'm talking about.
had a great. A lot of guys graduated with not only their bachelor's but with their master's degree during that time there. I had a wonderful staff, and after leaving there, I went on to Alabama State, and then from there I went to North Carolina Central, and now I'm here at Edward Waters, man, and probably having the most fun working with Coach Morgan than I've ever had in the profession. But like Coach Morgan, I was called at a young age to coach. And my first two coaches, just like him, was my mother and my father. My mother was very heavy and strong in the church, and gave us that sound spiritual background and guidance. My father was a hard taskmaster at home and taught us discipline and in detail at home, and taught us how to be a man and in many different avenues. And then I had the chance to play for some legendary coaches coming up, starting with Charles Bingham, and play for the legendary Otis Gray, and also had a chance to be tutored when I was a young player from Coach Ken Scott. So coaching was in my blood from day one, getting it from home, and then being placed amongst such great men, and then being given the opportunity to start my coaching career at Western Kentucky under the Hardball family, which we know that's a very strong family in football in college and the NFL. So I've been truly blessed, and here I am again, blessed to work at Edward Waters and to work with Coach Toriano Morgan, which has been wonderful. I've learned a lot from him, even though I've been in the profession a lot longer than him. But I've learned a lot from Coach Morgan, and I'm forever grateful. Every day I come to work, it's a new day of fun. This guy and his sense of humor. I mean, you guys don't know, but his mind of football is unique, and I tell you what, it's really been a good journey. Something that I've truly enjoyed.
Great. One of the things, man, I'm taking my hat off on both of y'all because of Ed Waters. Me myself when I was at Cookman, my boy, one of my best friends, Bert, he graduated from Edwards. But the first time when I went to Edwards College, I was like, "Where's the school?" It was very small, and I must say they came a long way. I tell them all the time, man. It was just like a, you know what I mean? It's like before you blink, it's gone. And I see like you guys created a culture there, like it didn't have, and that's something that in order for you to be leaders of men, you have to start from the ground up. You have to create a certain culture. Coach Jenkins, why did you leave Cookman, the great Bethune Cookman? I want to know that. Why did you leave? We'll start from that.
Well, at that time, I was going through a lot personally, and I never shared with anybody going on. But originally, when I had the opportunity to leave Cookman, I turned those opportunities down, and I thought I was going to stay at Cookman for the rest of my coaching career. But then, life happens, and in life, you got to make some adjustments. And my mother, who I'm very dear to, Coach Morgan knows my mother is my everything. She took ill.
Really quick, I don't mean to interrupt you. I don't know if some feedback in your if you back up a little bit, let me see. Go ahead and talk. Let me see.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. You good.
My mother took ill, and when she took ill, I had to make a decision. My other siblings were unable to assist her, and I had to make a decision. And for me, the decision wasn't a hard decision. I mean, my mother raised me. She gave me life. She sacrificed her life so I could have. So I had to make a decision. Now, on the end of leaving Cookman was the tough part of it. But finalizing the decision to go get closer to take care of my mother, that was easy for me, and that's what I decided to do. And I never really sat down and talked with people who are very close to me. They know this, and but that's the main reason I left. I went to Alabama State, not knowing a lot about the university, but I did me an hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours away from my mother. So we practiced 6 a.m. in the morning at Alabama State, and when I was done with work at 5 or 6 o'clock, I would hop in the car and drive to Atlanta to tend to, and then I would get up early in the morning hour at 4 and drive back to Montgomery to do what I had to do work-wise. But the main reason that I unwillingly but had to do it, to left Cookman, was I had to tend to my mother. And since I lost my mother 2 years ago, but I wouldn't change my decision for anything in the world.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. My condolences, man. I personally know how that feels. I lost my mother in 2018, so I personally know how that feels.
Right.
What is it that you want people to know about you that they may not know?
Uh, a lot of people see, and it's with all coaches. A lot of people see you on the field and at practice,
Mm,
and they see how hard and tough you are on the players, but you're not that person off the field.
right.
You're two different people when you're a coach. You're a coach. So I'm Coach Jenkins, but I'm also Brian Jenkins. And a lot of people got exposed to Coach Jenkins, but they never took time to get to know Brian Jenkins. So Coach
Okay.
Jenkins wise, I'm a disciplinary person. I'm a detailed coach. I'm a passionate coach. I'm a guy that believes in winning and working hard, has a tremendous work ethic. But Brian Jenkins is an easygoing guy.
Right.
I'm a loner a little bit.
Mm,
I love my family. I love my kids. Coach Morgan can tell you every day it's a discussion with him. He probably gets bored about my kids, of telling him stories about my kids. I fell in love with his son Zay. I love kids. I'm a guy. That's really easy going. And once you get to know me, I think you'll be surprised at the type of person I am. I'm a giving person. I'm a giving person, and I love to give. I love to help people. People don't realize that I've run a camp for inner city kids for over 20 years. They've never had to pay a dime. I've sponsored it all. People don't realize that, I feed the homeless every Friday night. Coach Morgan doesn't even know this. Every Friday night, I buy probably about 15 to 20 hamburgers or some chicken, and I go down and walk the streets of Jacksonville downtown and feed the homeless. A lot of times he thinks I'm at the cigar bar, but I'm down
Angel
the
player.
homeless. So those are some things about Brian Jenkins that a lot of people don't know. Like I say, when you're a coach, you're two different people. You're the coach, and then you're the person who you are. So I think those are some things that people would be surprised if they got a chance to know Brian Jenkins and not get stuck on Coach Jenkins.
Well, that's good. I know you changed the culture in Cookman, my school, especially after the great Alvin Wyatt left. What are your thoughts about the Ed Reed situation? I have my own personal feelings about that. What are your personal thoughts about that?
Well, first, let me say, and to have to replace a legend such as Coach Wyatt was
Mm-hmm.
a tremendous task. And it did bring some nerves at first when I first took the job. But,
Mm-hmm.
After interacting with Coach Wyatt and he giving me his lessons to do the job that I did, it became very easy. Now, question about the Ed White, Ed Reed, I don't know enough about it to comment on it. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the rooms with the meetings. I wasn't on telephone calls. I was focused on what's going on at Edward Waters and what we're trying to build. So, I really don't know enough about the situation, and I never took interest in it in that manner to be able to comment.
Okay. Well, so as far as like the atmosphere of the school, the things that I kind of look at it. I think I look at it from my perspective. It's kind of like the Dion effect. When he, came in and started trying to make some changes and see some things, and I understand from their perspective, they have not so much been in the atmosphere of how black colleges are ran and how it looks. You come from like University of Miami and Florida State, and they don't understand. We don't have the same facilities, we don't have the same things as them, so it kind of maybe rub people the wrong way. From y'all perspective, from HBCUs, how is it dealing with the alumni and stuff like that?
Well, I had a wonderful time and had a wonderful experience.
Mhm.
Worked for a phenomenal administration, starting with the athletic director, Lynn Thompson, and all the other people that was under him, Sandra Booker, Reggie Thomas, Tony. So I had nothing but a great experience, and I was given the things that I needed to be successful. The presidents that were there worked with me hand in hand and being able to build a program. So, you know, I can't say what a university like Cookman doesn't have, because when I was there, you know, I was given what I was needed. And I can only speak on when I was there. I can say we had a wonderful administration. I had a wonderful leader, Lynn Thompson. I had other members around that were great. I had a wonderful coaching staff. Everybody that was on campus, we worked hand in hand. We were on the same page from, you know, in the recruitment office, in the registration, to in financial aid. They all did a phenomenal job, which made my job a lot easier. I can only say positive things about Cookman, and the operation ran at a high level.
Gotcha. Do you feel that your best head coaching is beyond you, or you still feel like you still have a lot to give as far as coaching your coaching days?
Oh man, I got a lot to give. Let me tell you, first of all, let me tell you this: working with Coach Morgan.
I'm gonna say I'm glad to know that.
No, working with Coach Morgan has been phenomenal. He has a unique way of lighting a fire in you every day and relighting your fire. He has a unique way of I don't want to say scolding you, but getting you to understand things and see them a little different. And he makes you want to come to practice. He makes you want to come to work. And like I said, my best days are ahead of me. I had some wonderful days behind me. Believe me, I'm great at Cookman. But I'm really looking forward to my years to come. And I'm excited about the opportunities that will present themselves. And I think some of my best days are definitely ahead of me.
Okay. And also, too, lastly, there's so many perceptions of you, coach as a man. How do you, break it down from your perspective as a man? How do you, if you sell yourself and explain from your perception?
Right.
Because I know you explained a little bit about things that people didn't know about you, but just deep down, you as a man, as the coach.
Like I say, I think I'm a guy that could be named or be tagged as Mr. Misunderstood, because I'm not a guy that's going to go in a room and start conversations, believe it or not. But like I say, I think once people get to know me, they'll get to see, hey, this guy's a pretty chill guy. He's a very interesting guy. He's an intellectual guy. I'm a person that likes to do research. Many times Coach Morgan will tell you, I'll call him and say, hey, man, did you know such and such, talking about history, and we'll get into different conversations, and I think if people really got to know me, and if I became a little bit more open, because where I can take fault is I haven't always just been an open person to where people can get to know me. And but I think as you get older, you get wiser, you realize things that you have to improve on. And that's an area that I've had to improve on. And I think, one thing that people, I want to speak on this. Even though you look a certain way, or you could be having a tremendous amount of success, depression is a powerful thing.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of people don't know that I went through a very serious stage of depression, probably after my third year at Cookman. And I fought it all those years, even up to when I left. And when I finally went and got help for it, and realized that I was depressed, and what I was dealing with, and the power of it. But now being able to get it under control and get it out the way, and being able to live life because I've conquered it, I think people will know, Coach Jenkins is a survivor. Coach Jenkins is a guy who loves life. Coach Jenkins is a guy who loves people. And if you get to know him, I think they'll realize Coach Jenkins is a pretty genuine guy that has a lot of passion about life, about winning. I'm a guy of detail. I mean, to the point where I drive that guy there crazy a little bit. He's like, "Why are you looking at that?" And I tell him, "You don't see this, you don't see these 6 inches. That don't matter, But I'm a guy of detail, and I'm a guy that loves family, and I love my players. I love coaching, and I love giving young people the opportunity to grow, and I love being put in the position by God to guide them. So hopefully, when people are able to see that will change some of the perceptions out there about Brian Jenkins. But I just got to stay focused on the job that I've been called to do by the Almighty, and just keep going and not worry about some of those things.
I want to take the time to say this. I really appreciate you expressing that. Just showing the humility. Even that goes a long way to the young black men, to the kids. One of the things, us black men in the black community that we always say about these kids, it's hard because not only there's not father figures, there's no men to show them that sometimes, hey, I'm wrong. I made a mistake. And hey, I have gone through this too. A lot of us, we over exasperate, situations because we want to be manly men and not understand that when God put us in the position of leadership, that we also have to learn to be humble. You understand what I'm saying? Because they have to be able to hear, like not only hear, listen to us. Because we are the leader. So if you always talking, or like you say, you might feel misunderstood. These kids nowadays, they're different. Because I'm in the school system, I see them, they're different. And I remember, just briefly, high school, one of the great Coach Burrows, some years ago, I went to the game, come check the game out, and I'm just looking at the kids, and I go to the locker room and I'm talking to them. I'm like, yo, like, Coach, like, why are you talking to them like that? And he was like, I can't talk to them the way I talk to y'all. They're the video game kids. They can't take the yelling, the screaming. I had to learn to adapt.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And that was something big to me because previously before him, again, great Coach Ingram, that was some of the issues because it was like, man, dang, you ain't got to yell at us about everything. You understand what I'm saying? And
Right.
just the fact that you're showing like humility and showing that, hey, listen, I'm a personable person. You understand what I'm saying? Just like you, I have good days, I have bad days.
Right.
And that shows a lot. Even when you were just sitting here and you was explaining from being to within the aspirations of those coaches and then coming being one of the head coaches, in HBCU, and then going to another and then say, okay, all right, God, maybe it's time for me to follow this time, and now you're in the position with Toriano, that says everything. And it goes to be for in my head to show why y'all program is constantly, getting better.
Right. Absolutely. And then one thing, let me say this. Coach Toriano Morgan is my head coach.
Right.
Is my head coach. No bones about it, no in-betweens, and I respect him as such. And he is a great, great leader. He's a unique leader. He has a unique mind. And I would follow him, anywhere he wants to take this program. I'm right there with him because I believe in him. I see the late nights that this man works. I'm on the phone with him 1, 2 in the morning when his mind is going and he's just trying to figure out how can he better a program. I've sat in this man's office when he's just thinking through things for hours and hours of how he can make it better for just one kid. I've been in this office where I'm like, oh, coach, I'll get rid of him. But he thinks things to like, no, you got to think about this. And I'm gonna tell you something that I learned from this gentleman. This gentleman taught me, he says, this is a different generation. And sometimes you can help these kids by listening to their story and then telling them their story back. And I had to think about listening to their stories and telling them their story back. But when I finally figured it out, I've been able to help a lot of kids in our program. We've been able to help a lot of kids in our program. I've never seen a coach tell his players to love them as much as I've seen Coach Morgan do. And sometimes that's all our young people want to hear. I've been in practice where practice is over with and the kids get mad. Well, coach, you ain't tell us you loved us today. You know,
he like that. He's over emotional ass.
Don't
Hey,
do my
hey, no, for real, man. That's my brother. Hey, question though to you, Toriano. From high school, from dealing with the high school kids, right? And it ain't that much of a jump, but it is a jump. From dealing with the high school kids to coming to college, for you, what is the difference dealing with the mindset?
And when you in high school, I'll start there. It's more of a fundamental um, mastery of the mind as far as molding it. You know, the X's and O's gets too much credit. You know,
Right.
coaches take too much credit. So it's really not about the X's and O's. It's about instilling virtues in them: time
Okay.
management, love, respect, accountability. These words, the truth about yourself,
Right.
being able to look at your teammate and say, I care about you. These are things that, because they don't see, it's foreign to them. Now, you're able to get them to own those things, learn those things, and perform those things. The X's and O's take care of themselves. Now, once you get to college, it's more about helping them manage the plan that they have for themselves. And you got to have structure for them to be able to perform and create it. If you've recruited them, you've got to be able to have a plan, and their plan has got to be aligned with your plan. Your coach's plan has to be aligned with that plan. That plan, your plan, has to be in line with that administration's plan, and it all falls into line. So a kid comes in and says, I want to graduate. I want to play football. How are
Mhm.
we going to make that happen? You know, we tell them three things. I blow people's minds, and coach will attest to the fact that we don't have a lot of rules in our program. If you got one rule, you got 100 rules, because there's an exception to every rule. We got standards, and everything that needs to happen to meet that standard, the rules are going to put themselves in the place to reach that standard. So
Right.
the first thing we tell them is, excuse our candidness, or my candidness is, we're not pimps, so we're not going to prostitute you just because you can play football. You
Right.
are here ultimately to get an education. They don't build schools for football. There's not one building that's been erected, and the architect said that this is just for football. That
Right.
doesn't exist. You know, so once they understand that and understand why that's important, we talk about the next phase. And the next phase is the development part of you. We're gonna develop you socially, because we live in a socially hostile climate sometimes.
Right.
You got to be socially conscious. Socially, you have to understand what maturation and what maturity is and what it looks like. Academics, you got to be able to understand that you got to develop academically. And I'm not just talking about passing tests, being able to set study time, time management, being able to say, I need help in this, being able to take efficient notes to be able to pass standardized testing. And the last part is winning. You know, and I've always said, people don't talk about winning, because once you talk about winning, work comes behind it.
Right.
So you can't be afraid to do the work that comes along with winning. But you're not going to win if you negotiate those first two things that I talked about. So, you know, we hold true to those three things in that order: education, development, winning, and they all align. And so far, until somebody shows me different that it doesn't work, I just think that it's just going to continue to take off. I say it nicely, trending upward, but we're going to keep winning. And I'm not afraid to say it. We're not afraid to say it, because we're working right now. We ain't wrapping Christmas presents.
um, Heck, so as far as when you're recruiting, right? like how do you break it down when you do your recruit? Because I know some of the recruiting you want some dogs, and then
Mhm.
you know some kids, you know, they're good athletes, but they don't push. You understand? So how do y'all break it down in your recruitment?
Well, the first thing is we just don't take any kid just because he's available.
Okay.
And I think that's why the transfer portal has such of a life and has taken on a life that it has.
Hmm.
You're going to a school because of a name, not because it's a good fit for you.
Right.
Guys, you know, you can be talented as talent can be, but if you're not a good fit for our program, you know, it's very highly likely we're not going to touch you. You know, when we
Okay.
go look at that transcript, if we seen that you've been to 3, 4 high schools and 5 high schools in 4 years, you probably not a good fit for us. Not
Right.
because we gotta go find 5 transcripts from 5 different schools now, but you've shown what your commitment is. You know, if it's not, you know, mom or dad taking jobs and you have to move, that's a totally different scenario. But the actual camouflage of not wanting to compete, I will say it that way. That's kind of what that tells me. So you're not a good fit for our program. You know, so we have an understanding of a chart of what we look for, character wise from our program, and you know, it's no secret. You know, when we talk about recruiting, out of the roster that we have, maybe a good 40% of them are from Broward County. A good 50% of them are from Broward and Dade County and Palm Beach
Okay.
County. But that's not the impressive fact. The impressive fact is that there are 7 to 10 state championship schools represented on our in our program. So if
Oh,
you ask yourself or you say to yourself you want to win, you got to recruit winners, guys
right.
that understand what winning looks like. They come from winning programs. They're not afraid to roll their sleeves up and win. And then out of that number, 4 of those schools have won consecutive state championships. So they understand what it's like to put it back together, back to back to back. So those are, you know, just some of the character traits that we initially look for when we're recruiting. And then it becomes relationship building, you know, as you make contact with him, his family, you know, how that dynamics works. And then ultimately, you want to put the offer out there. Like I will say, we don't just throw fluff offers out there,
Right.
because again, at some point, somebody's gonna have to answer for it. And you know, that kind of shoots at your credibility. Now we can put an offer out there and you don't accept it. That's not us pulling the offer. so
Right.
so that's kind of where we are and what we look at when we're talking about recruiting.
Coach Jenkins, from your point of view, when you know, I know you're there and you helping. Now that you know you were saying about your personality, how do you deal with the parents when you're talking to the parents?
Well, the one thing, like Coach Morgan always say, be truthful with them, be
Okay.
honest, because we got kids too, and we want, you know, grown-ups to be truthful and honest with our kids. And I think when you're truthful and honest with them, you know, it makes it easier. Now they don't always accept the truth in a good way or the honest
Okay.
way, but the one thing that they can do is walk away and respect you for telling them the truth and openly honest. And that, like I said, that makes it easier in dealing with the parents. You're going to have parents that just have a different mindset. Some parents just don't know. And
Right.
so when you're informative to the parents and you keep good communication and build a good relationship, like Coach say, in recruiting, you don't build a good relationship just with the recruited student athlete. You build a good relationship with the parents too. So when that student athlete attends your university and your program, you keep that relationship with the parent, and now that makes it so much easier if a situation arises that you have to address that may not be in the student athlete favor. But dealing with the parents become a lot easier when you're truthful, you're honest, and you build a strong relationship with them, and you keep them informed on everything that's going on with their.
Yeah. I want to ask something, and this probably nobody really talk about. And this is kind of personal. I don't know if you guys have been through this or you ever thought about it. How would you handle a situation? Because again, we all know college the kids go through all kind of adversities. If an unfortunate situation happens, could it be from a death of a player? You know how many times people go to Tallahassee, come home. I don't have where players something happened bad, or or they got themselves in a situation. Like, how do you handle that situation, and how do you convey that when you rally around around the team?
Every situation is different.
Okay.
You know, I always say, when once we deal with those situations, and we've had to, deal with situations where we had a teammate that got a team member that got news through teammates that his brother had been murdered, and he didn't have a way to get home, so trying to help him navigate all of that and then still be there for him. You have to be what you say you are to him, because that's really when they're watching. You say
Right.
you love me, now I need you. Do you really love me? So we made sure that we were just authentic and genuine to him. We called him every day, loved on him, and let him know that we were there. And then we took a trip down to the funeral, and that meant the world to him.
Good.
And then we had some instances where some guys have made some bad decisions, and you get to the cause of it. You listen to what they say, and you stay true to your rules, because if you break it or you negotiate it for this one, then you're gonna have to do it
Hey, what happened to such and such? You ain't do that
right.
for him. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So every case is different. You try to be objective, but at the same time, you got to do what's right for the team. You got to do what's right for the individual, and you got to do what's right for your program. So they have to understand if it's a bad decision, and they were wrong. They have to live in the accountability of it, and sometimes that's you can't play football anymore. But sometimes, you might see that there's a deeper issue there. That's a root cause. And this is them not understanding that caused this. So we need to get you some help right now. Football Saturday is not an option. We need to find out and do what we need to do to get you some help, to get you, if it's therapy, if it's counseling, whatever it is. We have a spiritual leader on our team just for this, because there are just some things that when they arise, they need. And we've had several instances where guys have called and they said, I need to talk to him right then and there. If that was not there, then who knows, what decisions they would have made. So you got to have things in place to be able to understand what your limits are, and be able to assess the resources and be able to help get them the help that they need at the same time. But love them when they're right, but not be afraid to scold them when they're wrong.
I personally asked that question with y'all guys because man, I know for I pretty much knew what y'all were gonna say, but I want other people and hope later on parents and kids that we really look at these kids like when we take them in as coaches, they're ours. You understand what I'm saying? And that's really what it's about. Like you're ours. I want people to see these things because again, just us here standing, man, y'all don't understand how proud I am. You know, because to show what it looks like. Especially in black college. When we were coming up, we all, these hopes and dreams, you want to, the Florida States, the University of Miami's, everything else was like secondary. I kind of like go back, I laugh, I mess with my cousin, at the time, Pat, when he was playing at Temple and then he eventually went, I was explaining to him like, yo, you don't know what it's like to be in black college. Like it's different that's a different kind of situation, And he told me, the first time he played, he was like, man, cuz I just didn't know. You know what I mean? It was just different. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that you guys are here to be able to explain that. You know what I mean? Hey, okay. I just want to make sure y'all can still hear. But yeah, man. But also too, where do you think y'all program? Where do you see your program going now? How can you see where it's going?
Well, I'm not, like I said, I'm not afraid to talk about winning. So I'm not gonna be what's his name, Nostradamus, and make any predictions. But I will say this, we getting a lot of credit for going 6-4, which is the best record that we've had in over 2 decades,
Right.
20 years. But the culture and the talk, in the locker room in the coach's offices is we should have been 9-1, 10-0. So while it's great to see it still trending upward, we know where it should be. And I don't think I had these exit interviews with these guys. They're willing to put it there. So I just continue to see the success. We have great backing from our administration from the top down. I think Coach Jenkins hit on it. You hit on it earlier. Brand new stadium on campus, brand new wellness center, weight room on campus, brand new academic success center that even hasn't been even open yet. So they're not just talking about we want you to be successful. They're actually putting the resources in the place to say, let's do this, and I'm trying to make you successful. So when the student athletes see that, they're willing to do their part, and they understand they have to do their part. So, we're back at it, getting ready to get into spring ball when we get back, and one day at a time. But we're looking for that 10-win season.
Man, how much y'all get sleep, man? I know y'all don't sleep a lot. Like during the season, like what it's like on the road? Because I want to know. Because I can just imagine, like how hard it is, man. How much sleep you get, man?
Jenkins don't get no sleep. I, it seems like sometimes my greatest ideas hit me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, man, I know your wife be like, look, like lay down.
my best my best ideas hit me at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
and
he's
who
telling,
better to bounce them off of?
he's telling you the truth, man. But no, I'm gonna say this. Uh,
Mhm.
the thing that keeps you working late hours is more of your competitive juices.
Right.
The structure that Coach Morgan has in place, every hour on the hour, what we're supposed to be doing, where we're supposed to be at, the
Mhm.
breakdowns that we're supposed to have, and what time we're going to meet, and what we're supposed to bring to the meet. It makes it a day that goes fast, but it's a day that's thorough and very informative. And you don't have to put in the 1 in the morning, the 2 in the morning, work hours. But what keeps you going is, like I said, your competitive juices. I want to double check something, or triple check something, or if you got a boss that has these great, phenomenal plays that come at 1:45 a.m. You know, or at 2 in the morning, or at 5:30 in the morning. He has
Oh
these,
man.
you know. So that's the thing right there when it comes to the workouts.
Oh man, like seriously, that like for real for me, like that is totally like crazy. 'Cause I love sleep. Sometimes I can be a night owl, but I know when I was coaching basketball, your wheels be spinning. All the time, and you be thinking about the last play, and like, you know what? Maybe I should have did this, or maybe I should have made that. I should have made that call. You know what I mean? And things of that nature. Also, to question, what is it that you think, as far as the standards, going into the black college, how do you think that affected overall, like as far as the black college, like in y'all opinion, was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? Was it, what's your guys' opinion? Because you guys are still in it.
I missed the first part. You said the standard.
Yeah, like no. What as far as when Deion Sanders came in, he started coaching for Jackson State. Like, what do you think the effect was? Do you think it was a good effect, or like you feeling different? Like,
Well, I personally, I didn't get a chance to indulge in much of it because I was
it was
getting
working, right?
everything right. But I think it had its pluses, and I just think it's a matter of who you ask. It's a take on personal opinion. Um, he was there, he won, he moved on. That's just kind of the gist
Well,
of
I
it.
mean, just the effect on black college football overall, not just Jackson. We know Jackson State, whatever, whatever. I mean, just the effect, just for like the notoriety, or do you think it was just always there anyway? Because a lot of people they they don't understand the athletes that that black college have. Period. You know what I mean? It's almost like a start tier, and as you see, it opened the doors for a lot of kids to want to come to black college, black colleges and stuff like that. What from that point of view, what's your take?
Well,
I,
go ahead.
I think the notoriety has always been there. I just think
Mhm.
Don made the spotlight a lot shiny, a lot brighter. That's what I think. And I think he exposed that we got some good athletes here, which we always have. And he let it be known that it's some great coaching going on at these schools. And I think he helped erase the myth of, black college is limited when it comes to coaching. So I think that's what the greatness that came out of it in my mind.
Okay, great. Same with you, Toriano?
Yes, I was going to say because historically, a lot of the things that he brought to the forefront were there, but
Mm-hmm.
he did a great job of marketing it in today's area of marketing. Bringing the social media element to it to help expose it a little more. So from that standpoint, I do think he showed a different way of HBCU being able to market their programs.
Okay. And lastly, as far we know that other school, Tallahassee, that school that just won. Do y'all think since they won, it's battle in Florida, is it a little more harder now that as far as recruiting, between the schools, and things of that nature?
I'm rooting for Fam.
Okay.
When they win when
We
they
win.
win we win.
I got you. I said that I had to get her hats off. I did.
Hey, go go Rattlers.
No, I get what you. Trust me, I get what you're saying. Seriously, I get what you're saying. Again, for us, it puts Florida back on the map on all aspects. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
People don't understand. Like it's a thing down here. You know what I mean? It overall, it's a thing down here that we have just the athletes that we have. You know what I mean? It is. It's a big thing.
Yeah, it is. It is a big thing. It's a large amount of talent throughout Florida.
Mhm.
And first, let me say, Willie Simmons did a wonderful job, has been doing a
Mhm.
wonderful job at FAMU. Uh,
Mhm.
he's gonna really get a thrill out of this because the Rattler Killer is really jobs. But no, he's done a phenomenal job, has run a first-class program, and exemplified the level of coaching that he's able to do. Both teams did.
Right.
Larry at Howard exemplified the type of program that he has. But, as far as the talent in Florida, man, it's an immense amount of talent throughout Florida. So with family winning, it's still enough out there to go around. But like Coach say, when fam win, we win. So
We all win. We all win.
yeah.
Man, I want to tell you guys, I thank you. I really enjoyed this. I appreciate you guys coming in and talking and explaining. and telling your story, Mr. Jenkins. You know, I wish you all the success, my brother. Toriano, you know, again, all the time. I'm gonna come catch y'all games, man. My brother was like real tied up and stuff, but you know, it really is gonna be a thing, man.
We gonna make it easy for you because our first one of the season is right here down in Miami.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay, who y'all play? Who y'all playing?
Florida Memorial.
Okay, play FOMO. Oh, that's gonna be big.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's gonna be a thing. I'm getting popcorn ready. Hey man, I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Probably maybe later on do another segment, you know, talking about with the kids, you know. So again, because again, a lot of parents don't understand this, and I'm glad that you guys were able to, you know, show your views and your thoughts, and people can actually see y'all as people. You know what I mean? And then to have the perception of you know who they think or who they perceive you to be. You know what I mean? And just show that you guys are great men. You know, and you just want to just be there for the kids. You know, you just want to continue on the legacy of the HBCUs, of the people that, you know, put the foundation down for you guys, for us to be able to, you know, continue on the legacy, man. So I salute y'all, man. I take my hat off to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having us, man. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
No, any last words? Any last words, part words?
Well, I finally get a chance to get some rest, so I'm gonna go before he calls me and try to get the house where he called me at 2 a.m.
Now he did say he got a lot of football left in him, right?
Right, he does. He does. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. But yeah, man, we're gonna chat it up, man. I appreciate y'all, man. I
All
talk
right,
to y'all
man.
later. We'll sign off.
All right, y'all enjoy. All right.
All right, bet.
We gonna let the band deal with this. In my A style, old school. Okay, shut up. Okay, what's up? Shut up. Okay, what's up? Okay, shut up. Okay, they what's up? Shut up. Okay, what's up? Right around in my brand new 99 photo Volvo. I got a pocket full of bees, ain't got no